Welcome everybody to Games Now. It is 2022 January, first talk of the year. We're continuing our academic year, our wonderful program in the times of pandemic. I don't think that we need to too much talk about what pandemic is about, but if you're watching this in the future, just be sure to kind of giggle on the notes that we do when we don't know what's happening in the future. But today's talk is also about the things that the pandemic has brought to us. It has forced us to work in an online environment, and it's going to be interesting to see what we're going to find new things today. So my name is Anna-Kaisa Kultima, and this is my lovely co-host, Solip Park. We are here at Otaniemi on the Aaltos campus. And Games Now is an open lecture series, so make sure that all your friends also know about it. Subscribe. Where do we have the things? The subscribe.
Facebook,
everything
Instagram.
that we have, so that you know that what is going on and what's going to be like new stuff coming up. Make sure that you also join our Discord. You don't have to be a student of any university. You can be a student of life to enjoy, and you have a space for that also in our Discord server. So just join us and learn all things about the trends of the industry. How you been doing, Solip?
Still in COVID time, but then I don't know. Are we getting used to this already?
Yeah. I think we are. There was one question from students before the lecture that if we get out of the pandemic situation, we're gonna bring it up.
Right. For those who's watching this video in the future, do let us know. I don't know how. Like maybe you can comment on our YouTube channel whether this all becomes nostalgic moment in our life. But anyway, we're still on remote lecture conditions. Our guest lecturer today, Ulf Lang, is from Germany. He's also joining us remotely, and we're gonna talk about today about how to have engaging event experience, knowledge sharing through online in the game industry. So quite relevant to the current situation, and I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
I also attended Gamescom online last year, and it was very fantastic to watch. And it's experimental, it's explorative, and see how it goes.
So let's bring Wolf in. How are you doing, Wolf?
Good morning. How are you guys doing in Finland? Sadly, I can't be there. It's such a bummer.
Do you want a Finnish answer, or do you want the American answer? Yeah, well,
Depends
we're doing fine.
for hosting.
Yeah.
Good.
So where are you at? You're in Hamburg, are you?
Yes. We are Supercourse based in Hamburg. So I'm sitting here in the home office in our place. Just like the last 2 years. So
for those
special times.
Yeah, and for those who are waiting for just briefly let us know who you are, introduce yourself or what project you do, and then we can go from there.
So basically I'm Wolf Lang, and wolf is the German word for wolf, which might not surprise you that much. And another fun story, because I used to live in Shanghai for half a year. Actually, my last name Lang means wolf on Chinese.
Oh, was it a surprise for you?
It was a big surprise because I had it like on a shirt that I was able to design with the logo on and stuff, and people were like, "What is your name?
Wolf.
It doesn't make any sense. You were in an infinite name loop here." That's it about me. No, I'm actually. So I will talk a little bit about the future of events, hybrid events, that type of stuff. I'm a hybrid myself, to be honest. So I'm used to be a game developer on the indie studio called Threaks. Then we realized that Threaks and a lot of other game studios don't really have a place at Gamescom. So we joined Indie Arena booth in 2013. And from there on grew the event business thingy. Then I kind of stopped being a developer. Then COVID forced me to be a developer again. And now we're basically making playable hybrid online events. And I'm full of joy. So, not with the COVID stuff and everything, but was the best thing we could do, I think, out of a terrible situation. But not too many spoilers here.
But you've been around in the industry for a long time, so you've seen a lot of different changes already. When did you actually start?
2009, just after I came back from China.
Yeah.
And
So
actually also in university in the course. It was the first of its kind in Hamburg. We were a little bit behind when it came to all the education. I've been several times to Helsinki myself, and I've just seen your wonderful graduation programs. And yeah, we were. It was just starting in 2009 in Germany. The first lectures about game design. So
yeah. So today's topic is Indie Arena booth online and the future of playable events, and we're gonna give the stage soon to Wolf to talk about all the history of this project and all the lessons learned. And I guess you also have some like interactive nature of this presentation too. But make sure that you think about questions, because at the end of the presentation we also have the question and answer, and Solid here is doing the live illustration again, so you might end up on the drawing board with your questions, so make sure that you attend. But without further ado,
Let's get started.
let's give the stage to Wolf and go on.
Stage is yours.
cool. Thanks so much. Welcome everyone out there in the world. I don't know how many people are watching at the moment. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of online events. You don't need to be stage shy because you don't know if 1 person or 2 million are watching, which is definitely nice. But I did some talks in the past. Haven't done many lately during COVID, so I'm really, really happy to be back again with my first talk of the year. Which I tried to make a little bit playful. And since out of the boredom of the pandemic, we tried to gamify everything, right? So we gamified our events, we did online events. So this talk itself will be a little bit gamified. So let's see how that works out. Because also something we learned in the pandemic, not every online event is a good online event. Actually, most of them are not. So let's see if this is a good talk. But we will see what happens. So to kick things off casually, since we're doing gaming stuff here, and since this is a special assignment, so you're all getting grades, and it will be decided if you actually graduate inside your program or don't. That was a big surprise that Anna Kaiser was not mentioning before, but I will be your German professor here and deciding about your future fate. Doesn't matter if you're implied in the program or if you're doing the University of Life, it will be decided today. So here's the first question. What is Indie Arena booth? It's a tough one. Ideally, it explains itself because that's maybe the reason why you tuned in. And I actually don't know, because we haven't trained this, what would be a good voting system, because there will be 3 answers now. And I don't know if people can write stuff in the chat, and then maybe
we
you
can
will
have them write the stuff on the chat, but it has quite like 9 seconds delay, so you have to wait for the answers.
Okay, I mean, like, as you could know, like most of the questions are trick questions anyways. So it should be fine, but I think I will just go on with my little game show here. So first off, answer A, it's a digital cult. Sounds likely, since we're all here in home office in our bases. B, an indie music band, because it has the word indie in it. Could be. Why not? And then C, the biggest shared developer booth in the world.
So please just put your answer in the chat. This is such a tough one.
Yeah, especially with
this is like, yeah.
There's at least C, A, C, 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 C. I think it is a digital cult for me.
Dominant answer number C at the moment.
Okay, so
a
C.
Few occasions of A as well, yeah.
There's someone saying definitely A.
First point. Yes, definitely A. But then I think you already got your first points, which is good, because a couple of questions are there. C is right. Yes, we are the biggest shared developer booth in the world, and I actually dug out something that made me, I wouldn't say cry a little bit, but that felt very sentimental. Because what is the biggest shared developer booth in the world, right? I mean, we can only achieve it because we are part of the biggest entertainment show in the world, Gamescom, which is a massive fest. Maybe some of you have heard about it, have attended it. It's normally 370,000 visitors over a time of 5 days. There's a dedicated business area for 10,000 people in 4 or 5 halls, and there's the big consumer area. And in the Arena booth, on its last stop in 2019, we had 105 exhibiting indies, all curated from, now I'm lying, but the video will tell, I think 45 countries or something like that. So it's a massive thing. So it's a massive thing for 5 days, and it was all inspired back then from the Indie Mega booth, our dear friends there, because when we were showcasing our games at PAX and other events in 2011 and 2012, we felt like, wow, how do we enable our friends from the States and other countries to participate in a meaningful way at Gamescom? So we started this initiative. And now, to keep this talk entertaining and not you listening to me forever, we're gonna watch a little video, which is a mini documentary we did on the 2019 booth. And I'm just gonna click it and be silent.
The Indie Arena booth is the biggest shared developer booth in the world. This year we have 109 developers from 40 nations on 1,500 square meters.
Our main thing is to take care of the developers, that they have the best way to present themselves.
The issue is if you're a small developer or like also a mid-sized developer, it's impossible to organize the booth, to take care of the PCs, of the hardware, of the USK rating, of sometimes organizing meetings, setting up a nice space. So we ensure that everything is taken care of. The developers come here with the most important things, their games and their personality.
Everyone here gets the opportunity to show their game. It's something it resonates with Utomic. We're actually a bit of cut off the same cloth, and as in we do the same thing to get all the indie developers connected to the gamers. So that's what one of our main goals.
You have the possibility to get a kind of free promotion, free marketing, a lot of advice. I think that's unique in the whole world.
We have the publishers here, we have the partners here that the developers can actually bring out their games.
We are cooperating with them for a couple of years now, so it's basically quite a tradition for us. We usually host a game jam here because we are really committed on, a diverse industry.
Job in professionalizing everything, but also they didn't lose their feeling of creativity.
Ja, das ist natürlich kompakter nochmal, als es jetzt unten an den großen Ständen der Fall ist. Es ist handmade irgendwie, also ein bisschen mehr Manufaktur.
I wouldn't deny that it is a little bit overwhelming because there's so much variety of creativity and innovation.
There are a lot of international game developers and other people working in the sector that are extremely open, that they want to connect, they want to be in touch with people from other countries and other continents. That's why we are very happy about that collaboration, and we're extremely satisfied and happy to be here.
Ich finde das immer wichtig, dass man auch ins Gespräch kommen kann, nicht nur vor dem Bildschirm steht, sondern zusammen darüber spricht, was hat es mit diesem Spiel auf sich, auch erklärt bekommt, wie funktioniert das. Und das ist sehr schön, dass hier eben viele Menschen auch dabei sind, die das machen.
The spirit is really great. You have so many other developers around, you can talk to them because you're that close together and you don't have to walk through 5 other halls to get to know other cool small indie developers, because I really think it's important that the indie scene is connected.
When I was still a student, you didn't have much money, so you were sharing an apartment, right? With people that you didn't really know, and at some point you became friends, and with some of those friends I'm still friends, and this is a bit how the Indie Arena booth works. You don't know each other and you can't afford to have your own apartment here at Gamescom, so basically it's all roommates here.
The streaming booth, we stepped that game up like really. We have like really important streamers here
and this is something which is really good for the devs.
And you have more and more people being excited about the games. Like this year, every game had a line. Like there was no single game that had any downtime at all. They had to basically drag people away from their games.
Was mich dann jetzt natürlich auch freut, ist, dass der Indie-Kult immer weiter wächst. Also im Gegensatz zu den AAA-Titeln hat es ja mittlerweile fast eine genauso große Indie-Game-Szene.
Of course, for us as a sponsor, it's very important that a booth is like heavily frequented by many visitors. That's absolutely the case here.
We're really proud that we are able to add to the value of the Indie Arena booth. This is a unique partnership which we will want to maintain.
The people here are so welcoming. That's what I love about indies. They just accept you the way you are, which is kind of a big thing here, accepting people as they are.
This here is the accessibility area. It's especially for handicapped people so that they can also participate at the Indie Arena booth.
Indie Arena booth is my happy place, so when there's this booth around, I'd love to go here. So it's that simple, just because of the people. And Indie Arena booth is about people. It's about people who make games. There's not much things that's better than that, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit of tears. I mean, can you imagine, right? It's like, it's
back in those days.
See you in 2020.
Yeah, see you in 2020, right? It's like, oof. How little did we know? How little did we know? So, and apart from like all the wonderful developers, the teams, it was gigantic. It was like 1,500 square meters, right? So it's huge. So, and also like one additional thing happened that year, which was like very unexpected because there are around 1,100 exhibitors at Gamescom. So it's, it's gigantic. But then this thing here happened.
Yeah.
Let me try to open that up.
I've enjoyed the indie.
Speaking of which, there obviously are tons of booths here at Gamescom, so we are not going to list every nominee, but we will say the winner, and the winner is Indie Arena booth.
Ooh, nice. Ooh, and we have a few representators for this. All right. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Yeah, we are many, we are a lot. We're 109 developers in Hall 10-2. So this award goes to all the developers that are with us this year from 40 nations, 1,000 square meters. It's incredible. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Okay,
So,
the Indie Arena, if you're not...
So, on top of the world, winning as, I mean, like, just to give you context, right? I mean, this prize goes to that year, like the Borderlands 3 booth was there with gigantic statues. I think Blizzard was not there this year for the first time. But, I mean, it goes like this prize goes to the gigantic $6-8 million booths, right?
Yeah.
That are doing massive stuff with like really hundreds people working there. And for some reason, we had such an interesting mix there. And with the accessibility area, we had a wonderful game jam with a couple of IGF winners who actually took their time, not pitching their games, but developing meaningful titles at the show. We started our streaming booth really, really big that year for the first time. And we didn't know how important it would be in the years to come. We had programs like Enter Africa together with the Goethe Institute. It was gigantic. It was really gigantic. I think even this year we were funded by the EU for bringing people together, and so that was really, really nice. And then winning this award, which was not supposed to come from the cheapest per square meter booth of the whole show, because everything, just to give you the storytelling, the wood that has been used there is the same wood from 2013. So Oliver Eberlei and Sven Lang, the founders of the Indie Arena booth, they started building it by hand. And I've been one of the first exhibitors there when we started with 10 studios. and then it just grew from there, right? So sustainable because we were poor, or we are poor. So yeah, and now I think you all know the story. Our all our walls and everything hasn't been moved, obviously, since 24 months now. So yeah, but I just wanted to give you like where we came from. We had a wonderful year ahead in 2020 as the winner of the like the best booth at Gamescom.
Yeah.
And we had our partners lined up. People were super excited. I was very happy that we will always able to keep our arm of innovating and bringing niche topics like right, like accessibility in gaming, that type of stuff, to our show floor. So we really had this chemistry established, and it was very nice. And then trying to but what's next? And now I hope you're all older than 16, because I will show you now some explicit content that might scare the one person or the other, because I think we all know what happened.
Oh yeah, the substance use. Okay, all right.
Corona came. I think this is like
Corona.
yeah, it's Corona extra, and it hit us extra hard. So what were the consequences of that? Gamescom was cancelled. That was like a real bummer. But actually something that struck me worth, to be honest, was, and that was the same day. You need to think about, like, each day, like those horror news were coming in, right? Because it was really the early times of the pandemic. And the same day, the Indie Mega Booth went into hibernation. So they actually did their events at GDC and PAX that were both canceled. So it hit them like super extra hard. And they are our role models, right? Like they started our first steps into this industry, and like seeing them that they wouldn't represent on the other half of the world indie game development was a super shock to us. So that was very terrible for everyone else, but me. It was terrible to look at me because the barbershops were closed. so I think this is also my, I think was this like the peak time of no haircut time. So and then obviously Supercrowd was with our own event, the MAG in Erfurt, which is kind of like a PAX-like thing, together with the biggest German streamers, but also game developers, but also a lot of Japanese culture, artists, very cool mix of things. The Hamburg Games Conference that is happening again in March, and also the India Arena booth. They were all 100% physical, right? And we had no backup plan, but we had our full staff and team together. And then knowing that also from an ethnic point of view, like we didn't want to lure people out to meet up. That just didn't feel right, because we have a responsibility not bringing kids out and like so we knew that even if we could, we wouldn't do it at this point to do anything physical and sign any contracts. So that was definitely a bummer, and that was all just to bring back the timeline. That was April 2020, and I'm actually coming now to my next question.
Okay, ready?
I need to bring the gamification here. This is a complicated one. It's a very complicated one. So, what do Germans like the most?
Does it start with B? Okay.
I'm sorry that I'm doing this to you guys. So, A, beers, or beer, or beers, like both work.
Different kinds of beers.
Or B, cars with beer cup holders.
Oh, wow.
And in Germany, there are even cars with fax machines built inside them, because we love our fax. And that's not even a joke, because German loves their fax machines. And then C, obviously, cars with beer cup holders.
Oh no!
From Germany. Complicated. And just to tell you the laws, you're allowed to drink inside a German car, but obviously not if you're the driver.
Really?
So drinking is allowed while other people are driving.
There's
At
one
least
comment
that's
from
what
Twitch
I did my whole
says,
life.
There's one comment from Twitch just now say, I would say all of them.
I'm also wondering if the beer cup holder is the tiny, for like what do you have as glasses?
Oh,
in
Kölsch or something.
beer
Yeah.
places.
So yeah, I mean, overwhelmingly, everybody's are voting for C at the moment in Twitch channel.
So what is it?
You're all wrong because I'm trying to test your Zoom fatigue, which is one of the most dangerous things we discover. Because the right answer would be that this question is not related to this talk at all. It doesn't bring anything new to the table unless weird cliches of things that I sometimes like to outlive when I'm in Helsinki. So no, I mean, definitely one thing about digital events is something Zoom fatigue, and Anna Kaiser briefed me to think of some ideas. I think she wasn't like surprised how many ideas I have in here to break up the spirit once and like make it interactive and that type of stuff. And one thing that definitely listening to talks and other thing, like after 10, 15 minutes, if you're not surprised by anything, the Zoom fatigue stuff is a major issue that we fell in. So everyone's awake again. come into the next part. It's a bit more interesting. Yeah, I can tell you this was the last trick question, so the other questions are actually
Oh no,
real.
you're gonna trick again, so you're gonna say that it's the last trick question and then there will be a trick question. I'm now very wary.
Maybe there's a double trick in that, yeah. So back to the real question that I wanted to ask. So what should we do? A, give up. B, give up and cry.
That's what I'm going to do.
Or C, create in 4 months the first playable online event with custom-built worlds by 200 indie studios.
I'm gonna just cry. Is this a personal question for us, or is it just for what Supercrowd should do?
You are I think it's like, think about like us as humans at that point, right? And Anna Kaiser, she's on not a bad track to also put the human in consideration here.
Yeah.
So
So
I mean, overwhelmingly.
please vote. There's someone saying, I think A and B are all important parts to reach the option C. Is this a truth?
So yeah, I can bring it because it was give up and cry.
Oh.
Because that's obviously like the thing. If you worked so hard to build this up, do everything, that was the first thing we did. But the week after, yeah, but it was really, and I don't want to forget this, that it shouldn't look like a straight line, that we always knew what to do. We were terrified, we were scared, especially after the indie mega booth. As a backup, if we would die, like who else should take care of the indie community and give them a voice that is affordable for them, right? So I was in deep, now not shocked, but like I felt like, I mean, just looking at the video, right? How are you able to do this in any type of way? So yeah, I think I definitely felt like, hey, it's no shame. It's no shame. We fought so hard against all odds. If we give up now, no one's going to be angry, not us. But we didn't really see an option. But then at some point we started thinking like, but physical events is not the only thing we're able to. We are video game developers after all, right? So there must be something. And after the week after we gave up crying, we started this concept, and it was again in April that we felt like we should make a game about this. We had no idea how it would look like, what it should do, but we wanted to give the developers a chance to be visible, to be there, to be part of whatever type of Gamescom would happen at that point. It was we were very unaware, and we started pitching it to our first partners. We knew the date, we knew roughly what we would do, and I'm actually going to show you from the first deck we ever did, very roughly put together the first concept and the first things that we felt like we want to bring along. So first was and this was the first mock-up in our CI cell by our art director Stamm, who also came up with the visual component of the Indie Arena booth, I think in 2016, which was nice, right? Because without the visual style, we wouldn't be able to transport it in the visual world. So we already had that. First thing, obviously, have somehow your avatar and move around, check out stuff. Second thing, explore the different indie booths, right? Playing Steam demos, buying something to support the indie developer, get infos about the games. Video should be an an integral part, but maybe also have a little area for doing business and talking with publishers, right? But also chat amongst each other. So that was definitely important. And obviously, a very important thing for indie developers to be part at Gamescom is that they get wish lists, right? I mean, they get featured during Steam events potentially. So ideally, in an ideal world, and that happens most of the time, the fee you're paying is being returned in gold if you exhibit because of the wish listing and the games you're selling during Gamescom. And obviously, at Gamescom, it's not allowed to sell games there, unlike PAX. So it all came basically from our support from Valve, right? Who were also, from what I heard, they like what we're doing, so they try to support the indie community during Gamescom. So also in 2019, developers were quite pleased with the on-site event, but then I heard some stuff about some games that got more than 5,000 or 10,000 wish lists because they were featured on Steam, and we didn't even know that there was an event done by Steam featuring the title. So we already had the feeling this could be huge and really, really important for the developers to have demos ready and that type of stuff. And then obviously that was definitely the hardest thing to recreate, that you have this neighbor feeling, that you talk with other people, that you talk with press, get in contact. We knew that would be one of the biggest challenges to do, to keep it social, right? To keep it interesting. And yeah, obviously something all the developers were preparing for anyway, to have exclusive demos ready. And we know that there would be 100 exclusive demos ready, no matter if the physical Gamescom would happen or the digital Gamescom would happen. So that was our pitch. And actually, we had the first supporters that had money allocated anyway for something. And they felt like, yeah, everything is not good at the moment. You guys seem to have a plan or something. We're gonna support you. Let's see. And there was the Ministry of Traffic. There was the Game City Hamburg and Northern Westphalia, who did the bold move of supporting us, which I think we're all forever thankful for. And then other people joined, and we sat down for a game jam. So we got a lot of developers together, streamers, a lot of people who have been part of Indie Arena booth from all perspectives. And we created this little playable prototype with Photon, or based on the Photon framework, and it was already multiplayer after 3 days. So here's like a mock-up on how it looked like. It was those little islands, and each Battle Planet was from our studio, Threaks, as an example, because we are obviously could use the assets, right? And it would be connected with a bit of traveling, those little islands and that type of stuff. And the main features were there. So we did all that in 3 days. And this is basically the pitch we send around to partners. And
how long from crying was this pitch presented?
5 days.
Wow.
It was really. It was really crazy because I mean, like the pandemic didn't surprise us completely, right? Because we already knew in mid-March that Gamescom would be canceled or things would not be good. So we already thought about some ideas and things which we didn't want to put in motion, right? Like coming up with the first concept and the first ideas. So like those things here, they were already developed, I think, in a call with our art director end of March, just like the first couple of mock-ups. But we were just thinking about maybe as a hybrid, as a support thingy or something. But then when Gamescom was canceled, it was really like canceled on the spot, and we knew there would be no physical offering to any of our partners. So then I think 5 days later, we just put the Game Jam gang together and did this. And I was extremely surprised because I didn't believe that we were able to create it in a multiplayer version just in the short amount of time, but the Photon tools were so nice that and so it could have been all a single player experience in my mind, because I thought it would be too demanding. But obviously seeing other people running around there really made the difference. So I'm very, very happy that the Game Jam team, and back then our coder Henning from Threaks put so much energy in it to make it work.
So
multiplayer.
How long before the Gamescom week Gamescom was actually cancelled? Like how did it go?
so we started development, like full development, after this prototype 1st of May. And then Gamescom was in end of August. So we roughly had 4 months to put it all together. And the point is that our main developer, Yannick Müller, who used to be also on an indie game studio before, exhibiting at Indie Arena booths back then when he was still developing games, there were so many people like, we cannot die this year. We need to do something for the developers. Like this is impossible, right? Like there's no one else. There's no interesting offer. So he was, even from when he was developed Tiny Tanks together with our CTO Lucas, which was quite a cool indie game. They also had some editor tools that they would be able to use to like create custom levels. And so we, to the developers that were curated, they gotten their own level building tools. So they actually created Indie Arena with online with us, right? So we had some basic aisles, and then each developer has their own little tile, which they can create out of 2,000 assets that our art team provided. And so it was actually done together with the games industry, which was a bit insane.
That's just like going back to also our December panel about COVID and games, and the things that we discussed there is that the agility of the game industry people, the adaptation skills and all of that, like nobody's waiting for things. It's just okay, these things happen, so we should do something else. So I'm just so amazed that that's just very much of the 2020 skill, to be honest, to be that agile person, to change whenever, and to be able to kind of stand the not knowing the future. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking that. And I think also the crime part was important, because we were not afraid to lose anything anymore, right? Because we knew it was over, right? We knew it was over, and we just did something. And and I think that felt extremely good. If we had if we would have planned this a bit longer and stuff, like stakes would have been way higher, but we had no image of how it would end up. So we just did each day what we could. And fun story about this, obviously, since, like with winning the best booth of Gamescom, what in terms of, we thought the Indie Arena booths will never be bigger, right? And then actually we became the face of Gamescom by surprise, being viewed by 40 million Germans that day, because this Tagesthemen, or like the Tagesschau show, which is always running at 8, they did a feature about us, I think 2 or 3 days before the release, which was massive. And I'm just going to show you real quick. It's a little bit German, so we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I think you will get the sense of it.
Unterwegs auf der virtuellen Gamescom, im Sitzen von zu Hause aus. Letzte Tests in Hamburg bei den Entwicklern. Sie haben die virtuelle Welt kreiert. Innerhalb von 4 Monaten ist so eine digitale Messe entstanden.
Zu welchem Stand wollen wir gehen? Überall sind echte Besucher. Das heißt, die Leute können miteinander chatten, können miteinander reden. Das, was, glaube ich, den meisten gerade aktuell am meisten fehlt, der Austausch. Freunde finden, sich treffen, sich über Spiele unterhalten. Man kann die Entwickler auch selber hier treffen im Spiel.
Die Corona-Krise hat auch die Spielebranche erreicht. Zunächst mit hohen Downloadzahlen wie bei Animal Crossing, eine heile Weltspiel von Nintendo.
Yeah, so there's a longer feature about how Corona affected the games industry and how some games were totally booming. Like also the super positive story from Nintendo that they delayed Animal Crossing because it was never good enough to Nintendo standards, and when it came out, it was perfect timing for this type of game. So it's quite an interesting, a 7-minute piece in the end.
I immediately have this kind of a thought that, well, was Nintendo behind of this all?
I don't wish to think so.
Sorry, sorry about that.
No, but it's yeah. I think it paid off that if you're holding back products and stuff, I think definitely no one was thinking about that. But yeah, it made me extremely happy that those type of games, those type of social games, were there for people to do something positive and that that people benefited from. Yeah. So basically, what I wanted to say that. We've been bigger than anything we've ever been before. We've been on IGN Russia, been featured everywhere. It's such a crazy story, also in public interest magazines and columns that would only vaguely write about gaming at all, right? So it was a really crazy story. And actually, to give you a feeling on what was developed, I said to Anna Kaiser that we got the link to the first Indie Arena booth online. That is obviously not online anymore. So I get a feeling of it. A lot of things are broken, kind of, but I think you get a feeling for like how the world and everything will be, and I think it's being added in the. I think it's being.
For those who are joining us lively on Twitch, we have the link
available
on the chat where you can actually join the sessions together with us and experience like basically a live
and we can actually meet
together.
up. Ideally, we are able to meet up. I'm just gonna open this myself real quick. Yeah, I think you should be able to see this. So just a couple of days talking about the design. So we wanted to be accessible, right? We saw other online events forcing you to install Unreal Engine something, 20 gigabytes of an installer that didn't feel accessible. Also overwhelming the people with the controls, right? Like all 3D cameras and stuff. You know, this should be an event and everyone's able to access an event. You don't need to be a programmer or something like that. And so we felt a smart thing would be to using the Unity WebGL, which is obviously quite complicated to develop for, but made a lot of sense. And also, I think the whole build in the end was 110 megabyte or something like that. So it was very, it was very smart, not smart developer, but you know, like we had a smart tech art pipeline as well. And the goal was to have everything neatly on one page. So basically, you have the FAQ where you can read. Like I said, a lot of stuff is broken, but you know, you basically have this hub system where you can see everything, and you can also watch the video. So it would like scroll down like this, and now I'm going full screen here, and I don't know why I gave the decision back then to make it right click to move. I think it was very much on StarCraft Age of Empires, but it feels terrible. So the right click is moving. It makes no sense. I don't know. So everything is left click obviously now, but at that point I felt like right click. Whatever.
For those who are joining us here on live stream, right click to move. I was trying the arrow key.
I know. I also thought it was broken yesterday when I got the link, but no, it was my design decision because I was like the design director on this project and also on other online events we're doing. So and sometimes I have a good feeling from my 10 years of experience, but in that case,
I see myself climbing up the ladder.
So here you have a little bit of an overview of the starting hub that we had. I think the character editor might be broken. I'm not sure.
I think we all look the same now.
Yeah, because I think that might be broken. Yeah, that's broken. But here you can definitely see like all the different, like the developers were actually chipped in their heads, and they can also do stuff. So things could be really crazy. Then other things of control, we had this gigantic map with all the different game studios. Yeah, the backend is not connected anymore, but you can travel to each studio. Sometimes there were bigger publishers with multiple studios, sometimes just smaller studios, and you would have the different overview, like which developer would go which direction. We even had a business area for certain business avatars to attend to network and rides. At that point, we were quite minimal with the interaction, so it's basically like just world chat stuff, right? We had the party system as well. That was quite complicated to develop. That you would also be able to run around with your friends and have your own like chats in there. Yeah, and basically you would be able from the hub to move around and go to different booths that are not connected in this version anymore, and then you would be able to explore the whole world of indies. And each developer created very different booth, sometimes doing crazy level design stuff like building ladders and elevators and so on, like all stuff we copied afterward for our own level design. So it was crazy, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, this is basically what came up after 4 months, but it was stable, which made us obviously happy, and it worked. and we had 20,000 visitors coming from over 60 nations, spending time there. So that was nice. That was cool. You can watch, like I said, the video player was one of, like a very, very fun feature that all the trailers can be connected. And then also we had obviously like the link out to Steams and other things. You can also see the streaming panels and that type of stuff. So it was very ambitious. We added a lot of things here. So each game had like a little overview of like the platforms where the games will be available. And you can click directly on the you can click directly on the demo and would land like where the demo would be. So we wanted to be that hub where people can find out everything about indie games. And obviously there was a big success because there were no expectations. But and now I'm switching over to my talk again.
Oh, I was already like, I had my chat bubble on and everything.
Yeah.
My 15 seconds of fame just went. Anyway, that really looks super cool already at this point, yeah.
But I mean, we're not here to play. We're here to analyze game design and think about like what went good and what went bad. So, and I have a bit of stuff prepared as well for like looking at the future stuff. So what went good? We gave the global indie community a voice, which was very, very, we were all afraid it would die out that year, and maybe it was hard to foresee when it would come back. Yeah, everyone talked about it. It was like the number one thing about Gamescom. It was featured everywhere. It gave a lot of people hope and an idea that you can, like, even though in a pandemic, you can come up with interesting, fun stuff that might not be perfect, but that you're still able to do something. Yeah. And also I really like the approach that, although like the developers put a lot of work in it, that the developers did this with us together through the editor, that we had so many interesting worlds that were so unique, very much on the design and appeal of the games itself. And it kind of worked, like the backend was stable, it was not crashing, people were running around, especially during the streams when 200, 300 people were like storming the halls together with the streamers. That was a lot of fun. So it was definitely nice. But obviously, after the first excitement was gone, we were like, so let's analyze what didn't go so well. Oh yeah, of course, I forgot. We didn't die. Hey, that's also a nice side effect, because if we would have died, obviously we couldn't ask ourselves afterwards what we could improve in the future. And there was a bit, because what you tried out there, that's exactly fun for 10 minutes, because what you're doing is like trying to find out the right click and the left click, then navigate around a bit, visit your favorite booth, and then you click on the Steam demo, and then you're out. And maybe you come back, maybe you don't come back. So people stayed an average of 10 minutes, which is okay, because we felt like we want to serve the developers, right? That there's a hub and their content can be found, but it was not an economy itself. It was not the gamified approach itself. It was way too big. So some areas of maybe not that known developers, but not like visited that much as we hoped. So the spike of like the top visited booths and the lowest visited halls were so far away from each other that navigation was extremely complicated. But we wanted to take a lot of teams with us to be there, but it was gigantic. So now we're building our events with 12 to 15 worlds, and back then we had 200, right? So and there was not much to do, right? I mean, you can run around, you can chat a bit. I think the number one feature was the avatar creator. That was the thing that people played around the most with. And then watching trailers and stuff. I mean, that was definitely better than everything else, but there was not a product in itself that had a purpose. And also for our exhibitors, the editor, like building stuff from scratch, was a lot of work. And sometimes, especially if you didn't have that many visits there, that was a bit sad, right? That it didn't get more attention. So a lot of things to learn, and now I'm making it a bit easier because I want to really focus on the future things that are coming up. But I'm going to do this in a nutshell. We created more and more events with a lot of different partners for a lot of different things. So together with the ESL, we created DreamHack Beyond, which was like a gigantic festival, really, really cool thing. But then we also had last March, the Hamburg Games Conf, in the Hamburg Games Conference for the first time with video calls and your little avatar profile pics together with Me to Match, where you can collect business cards from exhibitors, and where we slowly started with the gamification aspects. Also, obviously, last year, another iteration of Indie Arena Booth Online, and then also for our own event, but also for the Ministry of Traffic. So also like a B2A product, right? So a lot of different angles of online events, and we kind of realized a little bit what works and what doesn't work, because these type of online events that we are doing are they are very focused on the entertainment industry, both B2B and B2C, because the users, especially in Germany, a lot of things, if it's not a fax machine, people are a bit afraid of it. So especially in Germany, people are not that open towards new technologies and stuff, especially games. It's like a sensitive topic. Other nations are a bit more open there. So we felt like, what are the things that we want to focus on? And we created this, basically our design DNA, right? Like what makes sense for us to not do shitty online events and just do like take every client just because, hey, we have budget lying around, do something, but don't do it like this and don't do it like this and don't do it like this and so on and so on. And we just felt like whenever we were like following too much the client and not what we knew would work and would keep people entertained, it will be a shitty project. And we all have a reputation to uphold of making meaningful online events, because it's a new thing, and if most of them are really bad, then people will start hating them, although there are a couple of really, really good ones. Yeah, so as I said, we came up with our project DNA and design pillars. I'm just gonna go through it very, very roughly. And this is just working for us, right? Like I'm not saying this is like for every event, but this is what we felt made a lot of sense. So the 4 pillars that we basically have is that our product should be accessible, right? I mean, I think I already mentioned that before, no gigantic installers, not complicated controls, doesn't matter which laptop you have, you should be able to use them and should be accessible, just like a real convention, just like a real show, easy to access. Also, it's important, we're not making a game, although we have a lot of gamified components in there with collecting cards and patches and quizzes and that type of stuff, and also an overall storytelling. Our key components are our exhibitors, right? Like the indies or other partners, they should be the core inside our events. And it's important that content is not created next to them, but they are part of the content somehow. And also what is really, really important, obviously, it sounds like a no-brainer, but if you want to squeeze in, like if we are like so rapidly developing as we did, and like everything we did was always like add 50% new stuff in the next product we would do, just to make sure we test out the new features, and that everything, you know, like needs to be tested, and that no unfinished material should be there, because people will test it out once, and if it doesn't work on the day of the release and it's been fixed in the next 2 hours, they won't come back because they're like, that was a shitty online event, I couldn't click on this video. So that's important. And also that each project should speak its own language. So we felt like we got away from the idea of just building exhibition centers. We went into storytelling. Now also with the Hamburg Games Conference, we are making this gigantic cruise ship and taking the games industry on a tour around the world to different gaming harbors. So there's always the self-aware storytelling approach that make every event unique, although we have similar mechanics in the back, but the world should be part of it. Then also our project DNA, which is also quite important. We need to be social, right? Like one goal that we always had is like, you shouldn't feel alone in online events. And a lot of online events are very alone because no one is there. You have no meaningful way of communicating. This is also why we made things way more compact, smaller, increased density of everything. But we're still starting there to do what we should do. And also like a clear goal, right? I mean, on the Summer Camp of Doom, the Indie Arena booth last year, it was like there's like the summer camp from hell, and you would get like all these weird patches to be like a Boy Scout leader. So there's always easy and clear goals on the timeline, just as a real video game in that sense. And also something, I said before, with a self-aware narrative that we don't want to be, hey, this is 100% how Gamescom looks. No, it's like an event on its own and should be reflected in the story, and should be tightly woven around the exhibitors. So with all those learnings, we created a lot of results, and those results were basically that people liked our events. So we always had like a lot of surveys in there, and filled up a lot of people, which was very, very nice. And we have a 95% visitor recommendation rate. So people were like, yeah, this is something I would recommend to my friend. Also, we were able to get the times up with the new gamification approaches to from 10 minutes to 2 hours, 2.5 hours, sometimes even when it comes to B2B to 4 hours per visitor, because it was engaging. Yeah, and a lot of people tried it out. And also after we won the best booth at Gamescom Awards, the year after we won the Heart of Gaming award, which was very nice. Also the German Video Game Award, also Webby Award. So that was definitely also nice. And something else we discovered here is that because online events are, for some people, it's like doing a Facebook group. This is this is being sold as an online event to some people, and we were definitely competing with social marketing budgets, right? Like they wanted to have something where they say, okay, do I promote a video on Twitch? Do I do this? Or like what you're doing looks too complicated. And we created our own backend, which is not more complicated than having a Facebook account where you can change everything in real time. And I was very, very happy to actually combine those numbers with other social media platforms, right? Because the engagement rates, which is like 77 minutes per day on the average user, it's like huge. And also we are unbeatable when it comes to the user interaction. So on our last event, the MAC online, we had around 70 exhibitors, and each booth was clicked 1.4 times by each visitor, which is super nice. So super crowd with digital super fans, that storytelling makes a lot of sense, but only because we are sticking to our online entertainment events. We are sticking to our type of gamification, which is nice. So, and something that was developed over the course of the years is like a complete framework, which is quite important to deliver content fast, because what you want to do in online events, people don't come around like, hey, I need an online event in 3 years. Can you prepare something? They need it now, or they need it next week. So therefore, it was quite important to make sure that we have something stable set up when it comes to the content, when it comes to the communication, the gamification aspects, which are also very approachable, but definitely we were able, with the type of gamification, to get the attendance rate up. And last but not least, the exhibitor backend. It was like, if you have 100, 200 exhibitors, they can just put their own content up. They don't need to build their own booths anymore, but they can like change banners, change like the text of chatbot avatars, like put all the things there. And also the multi-language support was nice. And I saw a couple of the questions from the students before, and one question is definitely something, before I want to go into the future of online events or like digital events, is like 6 reasons why digital events will stay, which surprised me as well. So what we saw was, in every event we did, we had a 60% new visitor approach. So even the Indie Arena booth, where we felt like, wow, we've been here now for 8 years, we did online and that type of stuff, we were attracting so many new people that were new to the brand or have never attended a physical event for reasons of maybe they were scared, maybe they didn't have the money to travel. So you always reach a new audience when you're doing something in this gamified style without sacrificing any physical audience. So that's definitely interesting. Right now we have Omicron, obviously, but we are plannable and secure. If you're able to do something physical, then it's definitely nice, but you can, just like we did with the MAC and other events, we can just start 6 months earlier to do things because we know we can deliver. That's super nice. Also, something that I like to do is Gamescom is very German, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, of
very
course,
German.
I mean, of course, beer and other stuff, you will get along, but obviously it's not that open to the whole industry. But if you just do like an ethics support, right? Like supporting certain languages with your type of gamification and content, the same content you're doing can be seen by way more people without leaving Germany in any form, right? You're basically decentralized everywhere and you're accessible. Also something, and there's something we didn't achieve yet, obviously, we're able to bring football stadiums inside there. So up to 40,000, 50,000 people at the same time. I think our record is at the moment at 800, 900 simultaneous play at the same time, which already feels crowded. It feels crowded, but that's definitely something you're able to outgrow every physical venue that you can ever rent, right? Without any risk, right? Without any risk. And then also obviously the exhibitor background, now that it's as simple as a social media account, is just super easy. And there's no reason why you shouldn't take this extra digital attention with you and that people like it. But enough of the sales part. It's basically our learnings, right? Like what we saw, what works on online events, what doesn't work, because I said it before, we hate online events. This is why we cried. But we made the best out of it. And I mean, we love making video games, and we thought of a fun way how to solve those problems. And those are the things why I know that digital events will stay, because this is unbeatable to anything physical you can have. So now again, I'm doing something explicit, because now on the brink of like, hey, we got this figured out, and also SuperCrowd was growing like crazy. I think we were one of the few companies that were actually tripling their staff. So we grew during the pandemic from 10 to 30 employees, because we've been very busy with doing our online gaming events, which was super nice. But then December was not nice, to be honest, because obviously this one with a little extra was added up, because I think we were all a bit hopeful that 2022 in summer we would all be sitting again together, also like certain budgets for events, because a lot of event companies have suffered over the last 2 years with no physical events, and no digital solutions that would make up the gap in money and exhibitor price and stuff. I think we were all preparing for a good summer with shows like E3 or other stuff, like at least something physical happening. And that was definitely not nice. And also something else that is also coming up, the gigantic event fatigue, even on myself, right? It's like, not another digital event, please. I can't stand it. I can't stand the amount of Zoom calls. I can't stand the amount of like get-togethers, lifeless, meaningless things. And we all feel like this is not, I want to meet people, I want to see stuff.
Yep.
And I had the tendency, a couple of people stopped doing this thing, because
Doing
I felt
anything.
like yeah, it's like, okay, I rather wait before I can go back into something real than do just another thing. And so that was also like kicking in quite a lot for us, that our events seem to be fun for the people that are doing them, but there was like so many things like everywhere, because they were so easy to produce and that type of stuff. So that was also one of the things that happened. And this is a bit like where we are at the moment before we go into the future part. People are super tired of online events. And if I didn't know that there would be funny questions and you guys moderating it, I wouldn't even have watched this lecture, because like listening because listening like to 2 hours of a talk, oh my god, it's yeah. So yeah, people are extremely tired, and also because a lot of online events are shit and they're not well developed, and which is bringing me to something else soon, because it reminds me of a couple of other phenomena in the past. To actually my next test question.
All right.
Because we're going to loosen things up again. And this is a serious question, I think for the first time in the whole presentation. So I'm asking, which industry trend had a similar fate, that online events were like, oh, everyone, blah, 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 it was growing like crazy. And now people are like, I hate this, no online events anymore, because there were so many poor
Oh, no.
versions of it on the market. Now, this
I'm starting to think already. Yeah.
This is actually a serious one. So VR.
Mm-hmm.
VR is something I think we can all imagine. I think back in 2013 when Oculus was founded in 2012, but 2013 at GDC was the first time where like VR and the potential of it was everywhere. Then we all look back at the motion sick versions and fast developed prototypes and all this stuff. And so VR is something I put in the ring. Next thing, definitely AR, the unlimited potential of AR and how fast all the devices will do and that type of stuff. And last but not least, Duke Nukem 3D, which turned out to Duke Nukem Forever. So, yeah, again, we are open for the...
All?
Oh.
Is it all? Okay, so we're waiting for the vote. So A, B, C for us that are live in this moment. What is the right answer? I would guess for VR.
Yeah, I would also guess so, but I am not trying to judge anything for our Twitch viewers. Oh, somebody has like D, all. So they.
Oh, D, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know.
Yeah, everything's
they know
up. Maybe it's even
now.
E.
We'll see.
Maybe it's even E now. Because,
is this also that this has nothing to do with anything?
Maybe.
There are divided answer now coming in, way more divided than previous questions for sure. Some people say B, and maybe also A. C.
Yeah, which I can actually solve it because it's A and B.
A and B.
and I mean, because if you look back, then we actually did as 3x together for Google Daydream, which was mainly in the States, was like VR mobile glasses with a little like a headband. Quite an ambitious project, and we saw and Google made sure that only really well tested games were in there that would have the right frame rate, and then you wouldn't get motion sick, you wouldn't feel bad. But there were so many products on the market just thrown out, whatever VR shit, and the devices were not.
Oh, wait, what?
I mean like you know, like we've been on the Google Daydream, so mobile VR in that sense, but already like and for Google it was extremely important that those games are well tested and have a certain frame rate, because 80%, maybe 90% of the whole motion sickness stories come from 15 frame games on VR, because the issue is you need so much performance because you're not only having one eye, you're having two eyes, you're having like the twice the frames, so you need to be super good and smart on development to make sure that you actually have a stable 30 frame rate-ish, right? And then if you have a 30 frame rate, then things are kind of smooth and you don't get this "Woo, where am I" type of stuff. But obviously with the 10-15 frame rate, that's not going to happen. A little bit the same thing with AR. And you know what I want to say, then VR was there for quite a while, but actually people lost a bit of interest, to be honest. Now I'm actually kind of happy because it is coming back, more or less, but more of that later. But then the same with AR, like endless possibility situations, then a lot of boring products and like cheap, fast stuff with like AR, do something. 2 months later, something was out. There was there were like a few products that didn't get like the major attention, that did super smart stuff and tried cool things. And also like we all hope that like the Google lenses would come out soon, or like Apple would do something, and now it has been more or less radio silent, more or less, like also with all the headsets and stuff, because they didn't want to bring out shitty product because it has so much potential, but it needs to be done right. So basically what I want to say is that we're on the same part with AR and VR back then with online events. The first hype of online events is gone. There's a very negative talk about them. People don't like it. Same with VR, like it was celebrated like crazy. AR, and then it's like, you're still doing that VR? There was such a hype, there was such bullshit, there was like no one cares. And actually now we have a chance, just like with VR and AR, which were never gone, actually they actually became a sustainable niche, and which is happening to a lot of new genres and things we are doing inside the game industry, that things are totally overhyped. They are like overshadowing the whole gaming industry. And then at some point, and this is actually where it starts, like where it's fun working on them, if they grow into a sustainable business, just as many other pillars from the game industry, right? So I think this is what is happening, but and now it's getting interesting because there's something else on the hype train or maybe on the interest train, which is actually kind of connected, but not at all collected, but should be collected. And yeah, I think you're not surprised to hear me say that the metaverse is here, which actually is a decentralized online event for everyone, everywhere. So people hate online events, but people are so excited about the metaverse. Why is that? Or are they excited about the metaverse?
Yeah, that's
it's
what I was
really
also
complicated.
asking.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, looking at all the funds and all the things opening up and all the talks, now there's going to be a GameSpeed summit this week actually on Wednesday and Thursday night with super interesting talks. I think it's also even free. So there is a lot of excitement in this topic, and but there's also a lot of this. So whenever I hear metaverse, I also hear NFT, I hear blockchain, I hear Web 3.0, and I'm like, why? like, why is this connected, right? So we thought a lot about it and looked at partners and competitors on the on our competitors, but like products that are successful and it's actually kind of interesting because obviously a lot of the big companies that like the Sandbox and other big social investments, they are NFT based and they are blockchain based and they get gigantic investments. But then you have Roblox and Rec Room and other metaverse type of things. Like Rec Room is on Steam, right? And also Roblox is there for quite a while. They're just doing free to play. So why is that connected? And in my point of view, it's like it's not. So I would like to focus on not talking about the above three because other people are doing that quite a lot, and I have no knowledge to provide here. Is bringing anything to the table. But I think I can talk about the metaverse, how I understand it, and the metaverse, how I understand it, and what is relevant to Supercrowd is that it should and will be a decentralized virtual space inhabited by our avatars. And people meet for all occasions that make sense to meet for. So they work, they are social together, birthday parties, that type of stuff. They do playful events together. They just are there and maybe are connecting where they're not able to connect in a physical way because of Corona, because of they broke their leg, because they are afraid of groups, because they are sick and you know, like that type of stuff. And I think that's a very cool thing. And also, what is kind of important and what we say in the metaverse, you need to offer tools to the people that live there. They should somehow be able to create games, to create worlds, to create content. So for us, those are the three parameters that are relevant inside the metaverse. If we see it as a project and not just NFT and that type of stuff, right? Which I'm not talking about. So, and looking at this, we have the main 4 drivers or like the main elements that are like design arms inside the metaverse in the future. One thing is definitely gaming, events itself, doing business there, but also obviously being social. So, and we just looked about, and since I'm already talking too much, you can look up most of those things and stuff, and it's also just our point of view or just our analyzation of projects that made an impact or projects that are interesting. Obviously, when we look at the gaming stuff, there's a lot of things happening. Obviously, a lot of MMOs, games that can be considered metaverses because companies like Warner or other brands are doing events in there. So at Fortnite with the gigantic concerts and stuff, but obviously also Roblox and so on, gigantic communities, playful tools. That is to some part a way into the metaverse, coming from a gaming angle and also the user generated content, but also user generated games in that sense. So very, very interesting. Different ways of it, Sandbox, decentralized land, they are both NFT based and blockchain based, also owning land. So a little bit, they have gaming elements that you build gaming rooms and that type of stuff, but they're not completely in the gaming scene. Next up would be the social parts. Obviously, you know, all the platform, all the things, definitely with Meta and Facebook. They're some of the biggest players coming from social, driving into all the other things. I'm very, very curious what the next move will be, to be honest, but they are coming from the strong social component that people want to hang out together. Also, I added Habbo Hotel as also like a long time thing that is there, like a veteran on doing metaverse things basically since forever. So those are like names we had on our radar. When it comes to doing pure events, a lot of things are basically Zoom with a little bit of a different interface. So Wanda, for example, is something we use quite a lot also internally. It's a fun tool. You can see little avatar windows move around, but it's just an interface. There's no, just like our first Indie Arena booth online, there's not really anything to do, right? Like it's all about meeting people, networking, that type of stuff. And then it's slowly going down with TouchCast and Microsoft Mesh to be more on the just business side of things, that you are able to do gigantic talks in digital auditoriums and that type of stuff, and digital offices and so on. So in our point of view, those are the four drivers that we see at the moment shaping the metaverse. And obviously there won't be one metaverse that, you know, like it will come from different angles and will somehow be like different forces, but those are like the four forces that we find the most interesting at this point, and also the most relevant, and because this is all a serious business. So, and where do we see super crowd? Depends week per week. No, but it's I think at the moment I would say we definitely have our origin from the event space, so bringing together exhibitor content, creating events, but there could also be coming from user-generated birthdays to all the ways to Gamescoms, right? Like big parties, but always having a gamified approach without being a game. Obviously, we also offer like do conventions, like conference and stuff with video call features. But this is basically where our approach of the metaverse or our platform will or should happen, which is leading me in the end, because I think I'm also done then with also any questions and stuff. I think I don't have another smart question prepared. Where do we see our path? Because obviously we can just come from our own storytelling. Our path as a part of the story of the metaverse is that yes, we want to do gamification, but we're not a game, because a lot of other players are doing this at the moment. Everybody wants to be the next Roblox. Everybody wants to create user like super easy to create games and that type of stuff, but that's not our thing, because we want to be still accessible to a wider audience. But we will definitely become more immersive. That means switching to a 3D style, focusing more on PC, mobile, VR, other things, because at the moment we are easy to use, just like a point and click adventure, but the immersion of really like seeing other people and feeling to be part of it, that's a little bit cut. So that's something we want to invest in the future in. But then obviously we have such a big tool set what our level designers and game designers are working with, and we want to offer those tools to people to create stuff on their own. Obviously, always focus with the back end and other stuff on the user generated events, right? It could be birthday parties, could be soccer club thingies, can be bachelor parties, I don't know. But whoever wants to create not first a game, but like a super interesting event with little Mario Party like mini games and that type of stuff, this is where we want to offer the tools. And we are super excited of new ways how to be social and do communication, because we don't believe in video calls, we don't believe in voice all the time, but there are super interesting ways how we can talk with each other and communicate with each other. I think Rec Room has very interesting ways of emojis with the avatars and that type of stuff. So we want to figure out the right way of communicating basically without the language around the world on a like that it's adding up. But ideally, and this is a little bit of the extra part, we want to make this hybrid, because I think the metaverse needs to be accessible from the real world. It needs to be part of the real world. I don't believe, or I don't want to believe in the Ready Player One type of idea that the world is fucked, but then there's like a different reality. Ideally, it's somehow connected in a smart way. And we think that's definitely going to happen over the mobile device, that you will have your avatar that you can also bring to physical conventions where you can unlock certain things that you were not able to unlock in the game, and back and forth and that type of stuff. So this is something, once we are allowed, or other people are allowed again to have physical events, we want to combine online and offline together, which I think is going to be a very interesting step into the metaverse, because again, it's accessibility, right? You don't need to be a super mega game developer nerd. You just need a mobile phone and then can be part of it somehow, and also start from the real world to go into the metaverse and back, ideally back. That's also good. Yeah,
it's not a Tron movie.
no, no, it's not. So that's it for me about my humble opinions on the future of events from our point of view, and I'd like to thanks for the organization and all the time and stuff, and for having me. And I'm open for questions or critique or praise
or offers.
Or offers, yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Wolf, a lot from this presentation and explaining the journey behind the entire Supercrowd's ups and downs, so to speak. So it's a really interesting case, and you're very on the trend. Like, you really managed to do this, like from the physical success to the online success. It's not easy, I guess. So congratulations on that a lot. I especially I liked your note. I don't think that you specifically said that to really underline it, but it's interesting to see how you might have a very good product on your hands, and then there are just so much noise around it, and the noise is kind of low quality noise that it also might push your own customers or your own target audience away. And I don't think that I've kind of thought about it exactly on those terms. But that's really interesting to think about the Zoom fatigueness and how, even though there would be the best, the coolest digital event, online event out there, people might still like not even want to check it out.
Yeah.
Like how do you currently think that's like, how are you able to solve it, that you turn people's heads in this Zoom fatigue?
So I think, like, and I mean, this was the big change, right? Like, if people would have criticized us the way like people are now looking at online events from the first Indie Arena booth online, they should have crushed us for good reasons, right? So and now it's the complete opposite. Like you said, since people are so tired of events, they rarely give like good, well-tested products a chance, right? So I think with where we are and our clients and partners, and next up coming with Hamburg Games Conference, which is going to be like a B2B, but also like a student event with conference, lectures, matchmaking, that type of stuff. We're adding up fun things that are cool. So also now, if you have an account, you can have your own virtual business card that can be picked up by others. So can actually collect business cards that you can scan with a QR code and have it in your wallet. So things that we are missing. So we try to innovate and try to do like better on the things we are doing. But I think also, just like with Indie Arena Booth Online back then, we didn't worry if anyone would do it or like it. We just felt like, what would we need, right? Like, what would we need if things stay like this? And so we actually think like one step after the other. And after we came back from a sad Omicron winter and Christmas crisis and sadness, and like, I can't take this anymore. 2 years of it. Oh, I'm so done.
Yep.
We've been analyzing quite a lot the whole metaverse trend, and also ourselves, like feeling like, hey, I think thinking about this from a singular project also that does make sense. We need to combine all our events. Whenever we do something, it needs to be part of a platform. It needs to be like this thing where people find this type of content, like entertainment, online events with the gaming focus. And this is where, a lot of people are interested in the metaverse. Everyone hates online events. So we're basically focusing on bringing this platform alive event by event. And I think I'm quite positive, to be honest, that this is something also our whole team is like excited about to be part of it. And yeah, but obviously there's still a big demand for online events, especially in Q1 and Q2, because a lot of lectures, events, whatever, are not working, and we have a fully developed framework proven under so many people. So yeah, we are quite busy with still doing the 1.0 online event version, but we're also very much looking into the future at the moment, and the future is super exciting, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh my God, I kind of from you I got this expression that we are now in a pandemic 1.0 situation.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Sorry.
just exactly how it feels like that we're
Yeah.
just pending with the first version of everything. So all the ways of practice is almost the same from the March 2020, almost. And we're waiting for something to change. So everybody has been waiting for hybrid, but it's not really kicking in yet because of the constant kind of a constant delay of the 1.1 or 2.0, whatever it is that is coming in the future. So that comes to the you're not like nobody is really in the hybrid yet. So that's kind of the next step. Interested to see how you tackle that. But are you able to already tell, other than the business cards, then what are the different kinds of ways to do the hybrid events then?
So I mean, like, last year for the Mac Online, we did our Super Crowd ID. That for the first time you need to register, and you would have your avatar in a web-based app, basically. So it's just a small website where you would basically find your name, Discord, like from which city you are, and that would be displayed inside all our games. And we are adding up on this. It can already access by mobile. This is already your first very small step into hybrid in that sense, because let's say there is a physical event and a digital event, and you can scan with this app certain QR codes that are on the ground, which will unlock a certain armor or like a certain room that you can enter afterwards inside the online verse. And vice versa, right? That you can collect certain QR codes or other things inside the game, which you can go to the exhibitor booths, and they're going to scan and be like, here's your free t-shirt, or here's your cup, or here's your slap in the face because we need to print too many t-shirts because of you. So this is, I think, the first logical step to take what is already something that is happening during events and make it gamified and combine it with the user profile somehow. So I think those are the first baby steps we will take because they make so much sense. Because something we don't believe in is that, and also it doesn't make any sense, that you're on a physical event and you have your mobile phone all the time and you run around in the virtual world. That won't happen, because like it's two separate things, and it's also for two separate situations, right? Just like if you're in a train, you would always prefer your HD big screen and your PlayStation there if you can have a big screen, but you rather take your mobile phone and play something that's suitable for your ride. So if you're in pandemic and if you're at home and you can't attend, we want to offer the people a seamless solution that is like knows when they're back on a physical convention where they were at and what they're doing. So it's basically the same thing as an Apple TV system, that your save games are being saved on mobile. Afterwards, you can play them on the TV and other versions, or then on the iPad if someone steals your iPhone or something like that. So this is, I think, a little bit where the logical next step for hybrid would be to connect it. Yeah.
Also, another thought came to my mind from your comments and lecture is that people are like gaming people, obviously, as we are saying that aren't we already in the metaverse? It's like that's the joke of the metaverse. But also we could say that wasn't the reality already hybrid before we started pandemic? Is that we like all this critique of people using too much of their mobile phones? It's like we are so immersed into the digital world already in the physical places. Like you could see a lot of kids, or us a little bit older kids, also lying around on the beanbags in the Gamescom areas and just kind of
checking out Twitter or something like that,
all
right?
the
Like seeing,
all the
seeing
digital
who's
things.
where. Yeah, that is already happening. So it's not like we're reinventing anything.
Yes, it's very natural, I guess. It's just that we have now perhaps opportunity to come up with something new and interesting and maybe more like game-like stuff also. So it's like accelerating things that already happened before pandemic, which is interesting. Yeah.
For sure. And I think also other devices like AR and VR, that's going to be quite interesting if we have it more like, if it's more standard, like having a mobile phone, that we have those devices, then that's going to be super interesting, of having a hybrid experience, to be honest, that you see like a secret door that you cannot see, and then in a hidden area that you can somehow open up or go through and find like special loot there, or like I think that's going to be super super interesting if game designers start playing around with it. But yeah.
It almost feels like a backdoor for all the things that we already tried to push to the world, but now the pandemic is giving us this excuse to really populate the experiences with more game-like stuff, which is something that obviously we love. So yeah, do we have questions from the students that Solip you think that would be interesting for us to explore?
Right, so I was going through a couple of questions, and I think many of the questions that students asked before the lecture has been covered in the lecture, and then there's one question maybe it's worth to discuss, sort of. So we're talking about the online exhibition experience in indie games, well, small to medium-sized game companies or indie developers comes in, adding their values. And what about like AAA companies, where you usually have a very we are familiar with having AAA companies with gigantic booths, a full control of their marketing narrative, millions of dollars, and like waiting lines and those type of photographs that we're so familiar with. We remember when like E3, for example, lines of people trying to get the holds of the demo.
Yeah.
If you wait here, it's 2 hours. If you wait here, it's 4 hours.
Right. So that was
Everyone's
like, we
bringing
have
their
to
chairs.
also admit that is kind of like a game show that we remember. Do you think this kind of thing could still be happening in online exhibition space, or is it just like a online exhibition place is more towards a little bit towards more dynamic indie devs, participatory way?
I wonder if you could, if there's an actual reason for the queues, or if you just reproduce the queues.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the first mechanic, and I think Valentina, our head of Indie Arena booth, had it. It's that we need inside Indie Arena booth online the first version virtual waiting queues, because this is something that just you do at conventions, right? So line management and that type of stuff. That's like, oh, now you wait 30 minutes. So yeah, I think that's something that can definitely be done also in a graphical fashion. What I realized though is that the bigger the companies get, they're actually not that interested anymore to carry their own risk on a big gigantic event. They would rather go into a community and blame if something doesn't happen on the tools of the community. So let's say they do it in Roblox, they do it in Minecraft, they do it in other events, which is actually, they're not built for doing events, right? They don't have a queue line manager, or they don't have a back end where you can easily update posters and videos and make sure that people, whatever, subscribe or get like a Steam code provided, that type of stuff. So I'm actually curious who's going to be the first AAA partner to bet on a massive, awesome, playable online event solution. Because so far, no one except Devolver Digital, they had their fun Steam single player adventure though. I think it was called Devolverland. Super cool, super fun, very entertaining, but not social, right? So I think I'm a bit surprised that none of the bigger development teams took that approach and made it like a, hey, log in here and you find like secret announcement that will only be announced here, or stuff that you can only see here. I'm pretty sure
channels, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure with so much exclusive content and announcements around there that are not being announced anymore at E3 or Gamescom, other things, like the companies just do their own gigantic events. Like, I'm a bit surprised that after Devolverland, none of the big AAA titles took that path. I know from my own perspective that it just takes a lot of time to fulfill those standards, make it a MMO from nowhere that fills all your needs and multi-language and that type of stuff. So this is also, I think, why we want to take a 3D approach in the next step, without making our style like, our style will definitely become, I wouldn't say generic, but it will be recognizable. We're not, just doing the next Minecraft clone or that type of stuff. So we will do something in 3D that is approachable. But yeah, that's also one of the reasons that we might be able, with our learnings and things, to partner up with one of the bigger partners where his consumers demand a 3D environment, right? Which is totally understandable if they played Fortnite before other things. And it's actually not complicated to do it if you're focusing on this niche. And so far, we want to be very accessible to everyone, no matter how strong or weak your PC is. But I think we are very interested to see this, because my goal for 2023, my personal, would fill up a virtual soccer stadium with people simultaneously on a gaming online event. And let's see, maybe that's gonna happen. Maybe it's not gonna happen, but it definitely comes and goes with the right partner. So
Another question that came up, which I also want to mention here, we actually saw like video clip of Gamescom Indie Arena booth before COVID. They had in the Arena booth accessible zones for players with disabilities. That sort of thing is technically not there at the moment in online space. But then how was accessibility taken into account in online space? Do you have any plans on building that space again, maybe online?
So I can actually
questions came back from the students. I'm pretty
I
sure
also
the
wonder-
student probably remember the time when they had the accessible zone in there, which was very meaningful.
Yeah, I also wonder if you like it's not just a digital accessibility, but also like representation in avatars to have the wheelchair and things.
Oh yeah. I mean, we had the wheelchair from the start, right? So
okay.
so that was definitely one of the things, but that's obviously just like in rainbow flags on the side. So like, but that's obviously just a sign, right? It's but what we did, and this is something we did for the traffic ministry, who are also all
Traffic
about
ministry in Germany.
Yes. So they're all about inclusion and other things. And we basically have the entry to the ministry, but then also we have for people that can't see well or that are blind, we have the library.
Mobilität
So
auf der
basically,
Straße.
the whole content, like every content piece we have in there, can also be read to you, right? And this is something we
Luft-
really
und
liked.
Raumfahrt.
That this was important to the ministry, because it was important to us to make this accessible, because obviously the ministry should offer their content, and I'm just going to show you the visualized person for people that can see and click, that like this version, like it would be there on both sides. So but it actually comes and goes with the partner, right? If you have somebody like the Ministry of Traffic that is like said, hey, and if you could do that would be super nice, and we're like, yeah, hell, we are waiting for a partner where like who this is meaningful for. So yes, we are working on the accessibility elements to make sure like more of this online event content can be done, but also the same thing when we started the Indie Arena booth online, or like the accessibility zone, where does it stop and end, right? Like we've started focusing on wheelchair gamers or like disabled gamers that might not be able to like hold a normal controller, so who need alternative controls. Obviously, we didn't tackle the blind gamers. We didn't tackle, like there's like so many forms. Accessibility is not just accessibility, but we felt like we wanted to make a start. And the same with the virtual traffic ministry. We felt we wanted to make a start there, with so many people trying to make the internet more accessible by reading out the websites loud or making it in easier language, that type of stuff. But it's a very broad field, to be honest, to make everything accessible. So
a lot of work.
It is, yeah.
But also considering like now exhibitions are moving online, and then I also think that it's gonna be here with us for a while. Like I don't know about those who are watching the videos in the future. but then
hybrid is not happening.
And then that's when it goes to digital competence comes in. There are also people who cannot access to this or not familiar in this gamified exhibition experience. Will that be also a hurdle for this demographic?
Like a so-called gaming capital where you understand, for instance, the right click and the left click.
Instantly trying like WASD keywords on the movie. Yeah, so that's kind of another topic that just popped into my head for a bit. Like we're familiar playing games.
Yeah.
We're familiar how to
Yeah.
move character, that that character is me, and let's try to collect cards. This is engaging. But what gives and yet another challenge for those who doesn't have those type of game
And
experience,
I think that
or that's
it also
next level.
feels to me that there's like two like there's a separation of the target groups, that there is the gaming capital and people that know how to play these environments, like to really feel at home in the playable events, and then there are the ones that don't understand it, so it's like overwhelming experience to them. But also on the other hand, the ones that are coming from the gaming background, they might be more demanding and a special case for how to make the fun for them. It's like, okay, well, I've seen this since 90s, so what's the new thing here? Or the kind of the need for innovation, for instance, for the core, the hardcore gamers, or challenge, or different kinds of like affordances. But then the ones that haven't, like the ones that are so super excited about the metaverse, I would say in a let's say like a state level, or I know that professionals also are interested in that and super excited, but from the different angle than perhaps the ones that don't understand that those kind of tools already have been existing for decades. So it also may be potentially the ones that haven't played that many games, or haven't played all sorts of different kinds of indie things and explorations and narratives and so on and so forth. They might be in a way easier target group at the same time.
Yeah, and you're
how does
completely
that
right.
resonate to your kind of findings?
Yeah. I mean, this is also why I put Habbo Hotel in, right? I mean, they've been all like Second. I could have also put Second Life in and other stuff. There's to some degree not much new that we're doing in that sense, but we're trying to find the right balance here. We don't want to be a game, but we want to use the fun of gamification to make sure this is more entertaining than a Zoom call or any other visualization of virtual content. So and yeah, like I think the number one thing we are fighting each day with is like people either be like, this looks shit. I want to see a real MMO. Why should I play this? But then on the other side, like this is actually only the 10%. Like it's really only 10% of people of the gamers saying, this is not a game, I'm not playing this, because they're not in there, first of all, to play it like a World of Warcraft. They're in there to discover the content that they're interested in and to connect and socialize. So this is actually not a problem at all, actually. But the other 90%, this is the big problem, is like people not considering themselves as gamers, who would normally attend shows or would normally go to exhibitions or go inside museums, because they're like, oh, isn't it this gaming thingy, right? Isn't it? I mean, also here you can see like a little bit on like the events we're doing. This looks joyful and fun. So a lot of people with fax machines might be like, but I'm not a gamer.
Oh yeah,
I want to make business. I'm doing my video calls with the camera angles in this direction, or the blah 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 blah.
Right.
But I'm not a gamer. This is not what I'm doing. So actually, 90% of Supercross works has been to how do you call that? Like to have weird argument, like not weird argument, but like the things that people are like, I don't want to play a video game. This is not serious. This is not something people do. This is like fun. And we're like, but actual people are meeting and talking with each other because they can't in a physical way. Why is that? Yes, of course it's fun. Like why shouldn't it be fun? Online events shouldn't be shit. Like and if you just do a Zoom talk and everything else with no interactive element or nothing visual to interact, then yes, of course it's going to be boring. Like why wouldn't you want that to be more entertaining? So, and this is the point, like from all the business tools like Wonder and like Zoom and that type of stuff that are considered digital events, because we are the first leap into anything more interactive, gamified, but at the super beginning. And for a lot of people, we are already way too gamified. And for other people, we are not. So this is why we're focusing with 3D on catering to a bigger audience here, instead of like saving every digital disbeliever out there in the world, which is also not fun anyways. There are no good talks coming up there.
I'm going to play like devil's advocate. Like, do you have any variation of your platform that would be for the boring people, the one that would be like, so deadly boring, looking like deadly boring, so that it would be almost like a camp experience for the gamers.
So what and we got asked by a lot of big companies, like really big companies, asking for their online solutions and that type of stuff. And already this one was like a style that was a bit more serious, with like flat design, was actually for a convention, like a business convention for closets.
Lassi, can we get it in the screen?
Can we?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like a.
Yeah, this one. So
I
that
can
was
see
for
that
closet.
works for a certain audience much better. But I was super excited by myself of the indie arena looks.
Yeah,
it's so much more interesting.
But I mean, like even for this type of style, which is like a homepage basically, like it's very simple. There was already too much for some. So some people gave us the advice, and it was actually kind of big clients to have. Why are you not like Wanderer, that you basically just have a profile picture and you just move around in nothing? and the issue is, and that's so weird, because if I go to an artist and I want to have a picture, I pay that artist money because I can't paint myself, right? Like, why would I be the expert on explaining the artist on how to do the picture? So if they come to us on like online events and give us an idea what will work, they're like, yeah, but you should do it like this and like that and like this, and like, we did it on 100,000 people. No, that doesn't work. That's a really bad idea, and you will burn a lot of money, and we will burn reputation. Plus, we will be the part of the event industry that is burning online events for all of us. So we're not doing this. So we definitely know, like, this is the line where we are capable with our gamification, was saying, yes, this can work. You need to be as playful at this. And I'm sorry, all your clients and people are now, like, the average person that grew up with video games is now 35, 40 years old. So it's just the gray CEO levels that are like, video games is not a playful medium. Like, no, it's not serious enough. I mean, this is like, we don't want to help those companies, and I don't want to waste my time on them, be honest, because like.
Bravo to that, because it is one of the most kind of a difficult ones, as if you're making anything playful that is not reaching for the already gamer people. It's just kind of almost like beating a dead species.
Yes,
in a
yes,
way.
It's like, oh God, we have to do this, but please not make it. And I mean, it was the same thing with the accessibility area that we did back then. We never do it Supercross something just for the sake of it. Like, hey, it would be nice to do something for accessibility. But with Andrea Renee, who was like putting together a super nice streaming panel on accessibility, and with that, us having an intern at Supercrowd that is who's in a wheelchair from his birth, we had like two credible people with ideas on how to make it interesting and smart. So right, so there's always like, we need to have clients and on our side to actually come out, like, combine ideas. And if like we're working against the clients because they just want to have us because they need to do something online eventish, but they actually hate it, then it's going to be bad.
Challenge.
Yeah, that's hard.
Because they'll probably also know that they've been working on this type of format of events throughout the years, and they definitely want to maintain that, but it's not offline anymore, right? So,
and it's especially with this hate inside of you, like, I hate online events, but we can't talk about it because the CEO want to do something digital and prove how future we are and stuff like that.
How future we are.
It's
Metaverse,
so annoying.
NFT.
Yeah.
Coming up next.
Yeah. We are running out of time, so we're gonna wrap this up.
Sadly, yeah.
I think that the viewers have been really interested in just listening all the insight that we have, so there's no further questions. So thank you a lot for your insights, and to also let us play with you in this presentation. It was super fun. We wish you the bestest luck of all the future hurdles that is ahead, and haters and lovers as well.
And also, this rapidly changing situations, who knows, maybe we'll go back to normal in just like this click, or maybe not. Maybe some
maybe not,
unpredictable way, who knows.
There's another variant even like. Nevertheless, you're watching in the future. You know how many variants between us, your time, our time. So we'll see what happens, and we will be happy to kind of update all our community members in our Discord, for instance, all the happenings with that. Supercrowd is boosting up with their products. And we are excited to see what happens in the future, as always in games and now lecture series. So bye bye Hamburg, and bye bye everybody in the stream.
Thank you very much, Wolf, for today's lecture, and thank you everyone for
participating
and watching us live and join us live also. Thank you very much.
See you in the future. Bye.